So you lay upon that altar. This is your desire toward God. This is you recognizing what's in that book and saying, Father, I'm going to be what you want me to be. And you put yourself on that altar. And when you do, the fire of God will fall. And it will consume that which is not of God. And it will fit you for the role that you have to fulfill His will and purpose on this earth. You'll be ready. And basically you will not even get off that altar, but your life will become a continual sacrifice, because remember, God is not interested in a dead sacrifice, or a dead sacrifice. That was Israel. They were all dead when they were offered unto God by Israel. But for you and me, He wants a living sacrifice, where, in a sense, you remain on that altar. What does it mean? You don't belong to yourself anymore. You don't have the right just to do what you want to do. If you are truly a child of God, I want to tell you, you do not have the right just to choose, oh, well, I don't think God's got anything for me. You know, I'm not very clever, I'm not smart, I don't know too much about the Bible. Listen, you don't have an excuse if you're a child of God. God is your Father, and you are to be His children. And children, obey your Father. Obey your Father. So today, as that fire falls, God is preparing a people. He's preparing a people that will do what God requires to be done today in this town, in this area. There's enough people here today that if everybody was doing the will of God, the job will get done. And people will begin to respond to the Lord. Beloved, there are so many people today that I look at them and think, Father, you know, what you could do with that person. I'm just looking around here today at all of you people. And I'm saying to myself, Father, is there somebody here this morning that needs to recognize that you have called them to do something, whatever it is, just to visit somebody, to go see somebody that's got a problem, or whatever it is. I'm not even going to suggest what it could be. But you see, when I meet people in various places where I go, I'm hearing the stories about, you know, a lady that says, you know, I go to some sewing circle or whatever it is. And she said, I go there because there's a whole bunch of women there. And she said, they have problems, and you know, they come and ask me. I said, wonderful, that's a ministry. That's a ministry. We've got to get away from this idea that if you don't stand in the pulpit, you don't have a ministry. Amen. In fact, I want to tell you, I used to work a lot of the time when I was pastoring. And many pastors told me straight out, you're not a pastor. I said, why not? Because you work. You've got to be full-time. I said, there's 168 hours in a week. Sit down with me. Get a pencil and a piece of paper. Tell me, how many hours do you spend in ministry in a week? Oh, they said, come on, you're just trying to be, you know, funny. I said, I'm not trying to be funny. I said, out of 168 hours, I'll guarantee you could work for 40 hours if you wanted to and still do the will of God. They didn't like that. But see, I proved that you could do that. Of course, there were days when I had to take a day off. I just put a notice up. It was like the place we've just come from back there at Benton in Alabama. The couple there, they own a shop. It's called The Answer. It's a massive second-hand store of clothing and all kinds of stuff. And they just put a notice on the front door, we're closed for 2 days. That was while I was there. So they closed for 2 days. But see, they have this ministry there, but they've got the shop. And the shop is part of the ministry, because they have people coming there with problems and needs, and they're well known because they've been in business there for I don't know how many, many years. Beloved, today, God is calling you. He wants to take the seals off your book. He wants to reveal to you everything that God has done and that wants to do in you to prepare you for what He wants done on this earth. Remember, you and I, in ourselves, as a mortal human being, are not much use to God. To be the temple of God, your body must be under the control of the Spirit of God. Because otherwise, you get sick. How can you be the temple of God if you've got cancer? How can you be the temple of God if you've got to be wired up to an oxygen cylinder or something like that? You see, we must have the Spirit of God ruling and reigning in us to fulfill His work and will. May God bless you today. Amen.